Hi, my name is Nancy Love, and I want to show you the favorite photograph I've ever seen of Governor Newsome. Check out that justifiable outrage. That man is so angry. All the other photographs I've ever seen of this guy make him look like a piece of toast or something. He's calm. He's like the political Buddha. But I wanted to show you that for a specific reason. Today is September the 14th, and as many of you will know, today is the day that Governor Newsome is facing a recall election that was put forth, promulgated by Republicans who said that he wasn't doing enough for COVID. Well, Governor Newsome is in many ways a fine gentleman, an intellectual, a philosopher, a compassionate person. And he has inherited a job that can't be fun and is frequently very challenging. No one alive in the 21st century has ever seen anything like COVID-19. And every political leader from Biden to Governor Newsome to all these other folks that are scrambling around trying to help the population figure this out, many of them are doing the very best they can. And Governor Newsome's record on COVID-19 is not something that I would question. I think that he has done well. My big complaint about his handling of COVID-19, and he couldn't have known any better, it was to open up the communities. He opened up businesses. He opened up the state on, I think it was June the 12th. And since then, pollution has really increased. You used to be able to see the sky all the way to the ground and it was just clear blue, but now only about 3 weeks after cities like San Diego, Los Angeles, and San Francisco got going again full blazing, you could see to dioxide. You could see hydrogen dioxide, you could see sulfur dioxide, you could see them coloring the atmosphere, and that's a shame. How quickly we managed to pollute the air again once we got going again. I am for vaccines, I am for masks, mandates in school. In Florida, they have had a horrible situation where that DeSantis guy said no masks in school, and in just a matter of weeks, 15 educators were dead of COVID. No. It's not Governor Newsom's record on the COVID fight that I would have issue with. It's his thing on crime. Governor Newsome, in that photograph, you display what I call justifiable outrage. But it turns out what you don't do, Governor Newsome, is fight human trafficking the way you should. And an assistant district attorney in Los Angeles County in 2013 told me some horrifying news that I had no idea was true, but it turns out it was. She said that Los Angeles is the North American capital, she called it, of human trafficking. So, you, Governor Newsome, have the North American capital of human trafficking right down the road from Sacramento. Proud of that? Shouldn't be. These people who are doing human trafficking are not only involved in prostitution, both willing prostitutes and unwilling prostitutes, both conscious and unwilling prostitutes, and unconscious, unwilling prostitutes. Yes, people can be trafficked while they're not even awake when it happens. And this is one of the most horrifying tragedies and a despicable form of slavery that I personally have ever heard of. In one situation I know for a fact is true, a human trafficker recently stood over an elderly disabled woman that he had been drugging, raping, and trafficking, and called her a little old lady, a little old crippled lady, and he said, he actually said this, and I know for a fact it's true. He said, "Who's going to help you? Who's going to help you? You're just some little old crippled lady. Who's going to come running to help you? Gavin Newsome?" Um, and then he went on and on about how Governor Newsome should come help this little old crippled lady. Well, maybe Governor Newsome should come help that little old crippled lady, I think. Governor Newsome, you cannot be soft on crime. You cannot put your liberal sensibilities above the safety and well-being of crime victims in this state. I know you don't want to, but I think you frequently do. So to heck with protecting the guilty. Governor Gavin Newsome, it's about time you protected the innocent. And I happen to know that person who reported on that criminal form of abuse, and she is very, very much an innocent crime victim. Now, what you got here is a situation in which at least one of your own appointees to a judge in a court system in California claims to be a cocaine dealer. And one of your appointees, and this was a fairly recent appointee, says that he sells cocaine. He's the cocaine upline for some plaintiffs or some defendants in courts. And he brags about how he sells cocaine. That's one of the reasons he and his family are so profitable. He says that's one of the reasons he got the judgeship to begin with. And he claims that he's also involved in human trafficking. And I need you all to understand that I have become an inadvertent expert on human trafficking in the last decade because I helped the FBI and Interpol find some kids who had been kidnapped and enslaved in Hawaii back in 2007. And I've learned so much about this, and so much of it is horrifying. I'm about to cry on you. It's stuff I don't want to know, but it's true. And people who traffic in human beings, people who sell the opportunity to rape other people, also are involved in selling entire people. They're selling slaves all a piece. They're selling human beings. Many of them are children. In fact, most people involved in slavery being sold as a whole person to someone else are, I think, younger than 12. And they can't defend themselves. Neither can little old disabled ladies, now can they? Can someone who can't so much as stand up, no matter her age, defend herself? I know a woman who was held in a human trafficking context, and she walked into it because it was a form of entrapment. They promised her a decent job in exchange for work. But that woman crawled on her hands and knees out of that place the day she was finally freed. They disabled her legs so that she could not walk or stand. And since I personally cannot walk or stand, that's kind of a special, that means a lot to me. I can identify a whole heck of a lot more with someone who can stand or walk out of a bad situation than you can imagine. If you can walk or you can stand, why don't they leave? Well, because some of them can't even so much as stand up, would have to crawl. Governor Newsome, you need to get with the program. I heard one of these human trafficking people say that she wouldn't trust you with one lady and 5 cats. This woman actually said, how are you supposed to manage, rule, and help the population, the most populated state in the United States? How are you supposed to help millions of people when you can't even help one disabled lady and her pets get free of a human trafficking context. And believe me, people, every single thing I've ever said in any of these videos is absolutely true, or I wouldn't be saying it. I'm not speculating. I'm not imagining. I have a truth mouth. The Germans call it Warmund. Truth mouth. Governor Newsome, you need to listen up and listen good, because I personally believe that you're going to be governor tomorrow. And I'm not going to be dealing with any of these Republicans or any of these Democratic competitors. I'm still going to be dealing with you. You need to hear me. You need to hear me loud. That a human trafficking victim recently was taunted and belittled and enraged and further victimized because somebody said that you wouldn't come help some little old crippled lady. Well, it's about time you did, sir. So you got one of these judges that you yourself appointed because apparently some of your handlers didn't do their background checks adequately and didn't notice that he was a cocaine dealer when you appointed him, because he didn't go from being a cocaine dealer in December 2020 to February 2021. Now, did he? You think in the course of 60 days or so, he automatically decided, well, now that I'm a judge, I think I'll sell coke? No. Governor Newsome, you appointed to a superior court that is now, I think, ought to be called an inferior court, a criminal who sells cocaine and brags about it, and he says that he's also involved in human trafficking. And what I was about to get to was that these human traffickers are selling prostitutes who are willing and awake, prostitutes who are unwilling and enslaved, prostitutes, they're prostituting people who have been drugged, sedated, otherwise compromised cognitively. They are not even willing to be in that context, but they're being physically disabled, isolated, and so forth. And they're also selling human body organs. Yeah. Some of these people involved in human trafficking, and I'm just like you, I always thought that word just meant, prostitution. Turns out human trafficking in this bitter day and age involves people who are killing other human beings and selling their bodies into what's called an illegal black market for transplant organs. And some of us think that there's some other type of market for human body organs that isn't necessarily related to the transplant technology or the medical field at all. Of course, it's illegal in the United States to purchase a human organ for transplant, but in some countries it's not. And the fact that something is illegal in the United States apparently doesn't mean that people aren't going to do it. Now, does it? All kinds of things that are illegal happen in the United States every single day, Governor. The people who are involved in human trafficking are, and this is internationally renowned, Interpol knows this, the news agencies all over the world know this. They are also involved in fueling terrorism. They're running the drugs internationally. They're running cocaine, speed, heroin, and things of that nature up from Mexico, from Afghanistan. They're running some drugs and slaves and weapons in military transport planes and other means of transport. It's said that the harbor of Los Angeles gets all kinds of illegal stuff into it, including human beings being held captive in shipping containers. And this is happening under your nose, Governor Newsome. What the explicit deleted are you going to do about it, sir? The people who are doing this are absolutely selling all kinds of illegal drugs, many of which kill people. Hey, we just lost 3 people, apparently popular folks in the entertainment industry, in Venice, California, because of fentanyl-laced cocaine. I forgot to mention fentanyl. It's something that law enforcement people are very concerned about, because they can actually be harmed when they go onto a crime scene to gather evidence if some of that evidence is fentanyl or has been laced with it. And then we have weapons. One of the people I know of in Los Angeles was once arrested in Paris for human trafficking, and then he was arrested on U.S. soil at his home in North Los Angeles, not too far from JPL, for having something like 200 or more illegal weapons. Many of them were machine guns, assault weapons, some of them military. And so, I know for an absolute fact that people who are selling human beings, people who are prostituting other human beings, who some of whom aren't even awake when it happens, who are selling human hearts, eyeballs, kidneys, stripping skin and selling it to burn centers, people who are selling a human commodity that should never be sold. I personally am extremely against prostitution. I don't care if someone is an awake, willing prostitute. I'm against it. I consider that trying to make a commodity out of a sacrament. You should never sell sex. It's not something that should have been sold. It's supposed to have been some kind of special gift from God or nature or whatever you believe in. It shouldn't be reduced to a commodity that in our economy. But these people are also funding terrorism, and the way they're doing that is not only by selling human beings or parts of human beings. They're selling drugs and they're selling weapons that are known to be part of what is fueling funding terrorism internationally. So, Governor Newsome, on the one hand, I don't think you're a bad person. I think you have a bad job, and it's very challenging, especially right now with an international pandemic that no one alive has ever lived through. But I do think that you have been completely inadequate from the standpoint of battling human trafficking, particularly in Southern California, because the city, one of the major cities in your state, is considered to be an international capital, or the continental capital of human trafficking, and it is considered an international capital of human slave trade. You're letting people run slaves on your time and in your territory. You're no Abraham Lincoln. Governor Newsom, on September the 15th, when I'm virtually certain now you're going to still be governor, why don't you declare an emancipation proclamation? Governor Newsom, why don't you free the slaves? This is Nancy Love, live, still, for the Planet Peace Project from Southern California.